we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusey. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to live.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Artists Exchange.
The Artists Exchange. The Artists Exchange. The Artists Exchange.
The Artists Exchange.
Artists Exchange Live.
The Artists Exchange. The Artists Exchange.
The Artists Exchange.
Starts now.
Hey, what's up? And welcome to the Artists Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Nate, and we're here on this Monday, fun day. We on? So please join me in. So this week we are doing something a little, well, not really different, but this month we're focusing on self-care and supporting our individual selves. This is the eve of going back to school, so a lot of people are already in school. Some people started school this week. Some schools will be opening after Labor Day, depending on where you live in the country or in the state. But we in Baltimore City, we go back after Labor Day, and I'm preparing to go into a new school in a new environment, in a new part of the city, and with some new students. And I am not nervous. I've been doing this long enough to just show up, get things done, but sometimes things around you, like your staff and things like that, make it more difficult than what it needs to be. And I'm really at a space right now where I want to just get it done. This year my schedule is a little bit different. I'm used to teaching in the first part of the day. So my students normally get their resources during the day, but now I'm going to be scattered throughout the day and teaching more classes than what I was used to. And I'm ready, I'm prepared. It's just, you still have to mentally get yourself together. So I'm going through my routine. I'm making sure, this week I'm focusing on making sure the house is clean, and I got a plan. I'm going to start the year out. I start every year out with putting my clothes out and making sure, it's like if I was a student, but teachers have to prepare in the same way because we actually have to be there before they get there. So getting up early and getting a routine that I didn't necessarily keep throughout the summer, but self-care for me is very important because I can often get engulfed in other people and what they're doing, and I'm ready. I really am, and I'm at a space where I don't want that anymore. If you can't deal with who I am and how I am, and not that I've ever put who I am on to other people, but I definitely am at a space where I want what I want, and I'm not willing to sacrifice necessarily my needs to make other people feel comfortable and all that jazz. So I'm really at a space where I am just getting myself together, and we dealt with a lot of sides of self-issue, and today we'll have a young lady. She's actually a teacher as well. We'll be talking about just classroom and doing things, and she also was a part of that professional development that I had last week. And we both work for the same organization. And I really want to just practice what I be preaching to some of the artists that I work for. Like, you have to choose you, and you got to do you, and you got to be prepared for all that comes with that. And I'm going to be different this year. I'm not putting myself out there. I'm not projecting so much of who I am onto others, because I can get involved, and when I'm involved I get really frustrated because people get lazy when they got good support versus keeping the momentum. If we all working hard, we go get there faster, we go get there better, and we go have a great time doing it if everybody doing what they supposed to do. But often when you're supporting other people, they lean back and let you take care of it, or let the job take care of it. But yeah, so this year I'm learning boundaries. I'm using boundaries. I am setting boundaries not only for other people but for myself, because I can't be everywhere. I can't do everything, and often selfish people require those things. And I'm just different, and I'm trying to share it out a little bit. And I'm kind of rebuilding my team. So for the last maybe, I'll say since like October, or maybe actually before then, maybe like the summer of last year, I haven't had a team in here with me. I haven't had a co-host. I haven't had like my intern that I normally work with, and I just did things differently this year, and I kind of started the year on a more of a blank slate. And I took some time off in the beginning, one because I did not have an engineer, but I just took that time to just reevaluate what I wanted, specifically out of radio, and I had to make sure I was staying true to what my mission was and what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do and how I wanted this show to really go, because I kind of stumbled into radio. Even though radio was something that I wanted to do, I kind of took a different approach to getting here, and it was doing this for about 6 years now. It really wears on you. It wears hard on you, because actually this was the week that I actually came and did my test show for the show, and then the end of the next month is when I actually came on and started doing the show, and it's been going ever since. Like, I didn't really take a lot of time for myself, and I guess I'll pose a question to everybody. So, how do you take care of yourself? What are your self-care routines? Do you have a routine? Are you struggling with a routine? Are you just ignoring having a routine and you just waking up and whatever happens that day happens? Like, so how do you take care of yourself? I grew up around a lot of people who gave a lot of themselves and didn't require anything in return. Wanted something, needed something, but didn't require anything in return. And I worked with a lot of art organizations, a lot of artists, and I got burnt out. I got burnt out of just the process of just being there all the time, and I really got tired. Hey, Malcolm. Hey, cuz. What's up, Fayon? But yeah, I really I tried to I tried different ways of being an artist, and every road that I traveled down, I would give too much of myself. And there's a such thing as giving too much of yourself and not really counting the cost of what that is and how that can happen. And I'm here to tell you, like, just do you. If you're listening right now, please take a moment, share this out with some other artist friends. I really need your support, and I value everybody that has been supportive. But today's topic is self-care, and we've been doing that topic for the month of August in preparation of starting a new season. And for me, for teachers or educators or people, even people with children, this is a new season. This is a different season where children are in school, and I am about to go back into the classroom. And I was transparent in the beginning of this month in saying I did not end last school year on a great note, and it actually last school year was really difficult for me because I wasn't there for the first part of the school year like I normally am, but I came in the second half of the school year, and that was difficult because children need to be, first day, they need to set the tone for the rest of the year. And when you're going through teachers, it's not really setting that example. So me coming in halfway kind of threw a monkey wrench in there for a lot of students. Hey, what's going on, sir? How you feeling? What's up, cousin? But it really had not experienced that much kind of pushback from students. I've never received that type of pushback. And I'm not saying I'm a perfect teacher and I've had perfect students, but I'm used to 1 or 2 students giving me issues, but it was a lot. And I noticed the school system that I was in wasn't really effective. So as parents or guardians or social workers, whomever is in charge of the well-being of these children, please check in on your children's schools. Like, don't just drop them off in the parent line or the student drop-off line, or just stay in the car or pick up time. Park that car, go in there and talk to that teacher and see how your child is doing. Last year we ended with only 25% of parents having active, correct contact information at the school, meaning only 25% of the parents had accurate, up-to-date, or any contact information at these schools. And what was horrible about that is some of the children that needed the most. I remember last school year, having to reach out to a couple parents, and one parent basically told me, look, I'm in a hairdresser right now. And I was like, well, you ain't doing nothing. That was my reaction to her. And she got offended. You know, I'm here. Now, I'm getting paid to handle your child, but I am not a babysitter. And even a babysitter has limits. You know, so, and me trying to figure out how to balance this off and not just go off on these parents, I really had to step back. And I had to reevaluate over the summer what it is about this that I love. And I had to go back to my experience of having teaching artists or having workshops or assemblies at school that kind of encouraged me to be an artist. And I actually got to teach in an after school program at the same school, elementary school that I went to, which was a real full circle moment for me. I remember the first day that I walked into that auditorium. I remember what it felt like. It seemed much smaller, so it wasn't as intimidating, but I just remember the steps, I remember the stage, I remember where the lights were. I just remember being a student, and it came back to me. And unfortunately, that was one of the schools that I had some difficulty in, because the young people that I was working with didn't understand my intention. And one of the things that I want to say to a lot of social workers, a lot of therapists, parents, the school system in general, we're giving these young people the vocabulary to be able to express how they feel without giving them the definition and the practical application of how to actually utilize these terms like triggered or abuse, or it was another word that I kept hearing, abuse, but aggressive. You're being very aggressive with me. You're abusing me in this moment. Like, I kept hearing children say things like that, and not necessarily about me, but just for teachers in general. And it really made me feel some kind of way to be in the presence of somebody and not understand it. So self-care became something that was really important to me. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. Hopefully by then our lovely guest, our surprise guest for the day, will be here. So don't go anywhere. The Artist Exchange Radio Show here. It's not going anywhere. Stay tuned. Stay locked in. Share it out. We'll be right back here on BigExposedRadio.com.
What you gonna have no money today?
Man, it is what it is.
Then last week you told me your wife was cooking.
Man, it is what it is.
Then again, I don't think I want your wife cooking because you don't like it.
Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio. It is what it is, 9/11.
Are they ready to? I know they're not ready to accept it, but yeah, exactly. That's my whole thing. Like, how many of them are really ready to think about it like that?
None.
You know, like
I think the problem is,
like
I don't even know how we got here, but it's inbred.
Mm-hmm.
You're not born to hate people. You're not born to distinguish between black and white and Asian and Hispanic. That's something that you're taught. You're taught. Point blank, period.
Straight up.
My daughter came home and told me that her white teacher was black. Maybe it's because it's how she treated her. She don't see any color. But when it comes to all her friends, all her friends are mixed. All of her friends have a white parent, black, African, Hispanic, other parent. So children don't see color. You breed your children. Not breed. Right. You raise your children to see that.
Yeah, most definitely.
They don't see racism.
Well, I guess
I met a little girl who had a black doll, and she said because the black dolls are prettier than the white dolls. But then I've taken a black doll and a white doll and put it in front of two kids. And it's a study that they've done before. You put it in front of two kids, and you put it in front of a kid, and you ask them, which one is the nice one?
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9
Whatever happened to the times when we cared for one another? We shared the same respect. What is happening? We're trading what's important for shiny things. I can't allow this blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Don't lose yourself, stay on track. Baby, you're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. Full of the things that we've overcome. Full of unspoken battles we've won. You're so much better than that. Sometimes the truth ain't always catchy as rap. Stop chasing cheese or you'll get stuck in a trap. Go get your crown and never render it back. No. Why would you treat yourself like that? Stop all that blasphemy. We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. You're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. You're way too gifted to stop and listen. It's condescending, not to mention all of our ignorance. Is there permission to? I know you like to turn up like that, with a drink to pull up like that. Well, baby, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Just make sure the God in you stays where it's at. You're the rising sun of a new day begun. Grind on till victory's won. I pray you do your thing till earth and heaven ring. Just don't forget where you come from.
Let me talk to him. Oh, you ain't know? You ain't heard it before? That spirit you take for granted is the God of your soul. It's a price that you owe. It can never be owned. So for this valued dollar, it can never be sold. We were kings and queens in the motherland. Problem is we shouldn't have spared the rod or the father's hand. Yo, where the fathers at? Kids raising kids. So basically they never really raised but more assisted. Thrown to the system for criminal definition instead of dreaming for better and taking care of your business. I promise. Big guys from the crib. Thing is, you can call a king a slave if he don't know who he is. Man, it's blasphemy.
Why would you treat yourself like that? Stop all that blasphemy. We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. You're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. God, God, God. Baby, you're a god. Believe that.
we're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, won with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right.
They were going into that National series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that you're.
Then your average game you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like negative 65, this early in the season is pretty rough.
That's horrible.
The pitching numbers pretty much support this stat right here. I mean, the team ERA is 4.70, which is 26th in the league. They have 126 walks allowed. They acquired Jared Weaver in the offseason, and he really has not panned out. He's off to one of the worst starts in any of the pitchers in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
He's 0-4 with a 6.05 ERA. In May alone, he already has 12 earned runs in May. And, another one of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, he's 2-4 with a 4.34 ERA. And, in May, he has 6 earned runs and 12 innings pitched. So they're not pitching well.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I'm broken in now. That's what the man at CPS said. Oh, you're broken in. But no, I didn't want to be broken in that way. So welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. And like Mondays, we always have a surprise guest. And today we got Miss Rideout, Miss Ramona Rideout. She's also an arts educator. You can't say teaching artists anymore because we're professionals now.
That's right.
Got my certificate to show. Right, literally. I feel like I was in a semester last week. But as I was talking to Miss Rideout during during the break, this month we're touching on professional development, and it was very befitting last week. Basically, we went through a purging session. I had never been in a room with that many people crying before. So I'm not a crier, so I was and I had 2 guys on both sides of me, and I was like, what do I do? Safe space?
Definitely a crier.
Right.
I remember myself.
But the awkward thing, and what I learned last year, this idea of what safe space is makes me feel awkward. Because you don't know, do I console somebody, or you gonna feel uncomfortable that this other dude is consoling you because you in tears right now. And I don't want to blame it on me too, but I feel like the umbrella of that has made me as a black male feel uncomfortable. So the idea of safe space is daunting to me. Like, what do you do? I don't relate to people the same way I used to. I'm not a hugger, I'm not a crier, but I know how to console people, but now I feel like, how do I, or do you have a boundary up? Like, where's your boundaries?
Okay, so are we allowed to talk about religion, so to say?
Go, whatever goes. Oh, yeah, no.
I want to say that it's more like safe space would be your own heaven and hell, meaning what you create. So if you encounter a student, and because you're going to get to know your students, it was all about building relationships and understanding how to connect with different students. And what happens is when you get to know those students, you develop your own safe space. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a hug or let me embrace you and hug you for 3 minutes, because it's safe space is what you've developed as that comfort zone with that student.
But I feel like the students have had this private meeting that the rest of us didn't go to, because they have vocabulary that we didn't. I'm 36. I didn't grow up with knowing what those terminologies were and those terms for being protected or saying what's happened to you, or being able to say that this person did this to me, or saying no. We didn't grow up with those things. You just supposed to respect adults and don't talk to strangers. That was the only two things, which was conflicting.
Right.
It didn't make sense, because that's why a lot of us got out there like that. But I felt like they gave those students terminologies or terms that they don't know what it really means.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so I get where you're coming from, because what happens is students are now parrots. They are programs of their parents. They're programs of the internet. And so it's like having all this knowledge thrown at you and all this knowledge compacted into something so small and not ready to retain.
And not being understanding. You know what the words are, but you, in reality, you don't know what it means. Like, I've heard a lot of, and not just towards me, I've heard a lot of students say, you're being really aggressive towards me right now, and I don't like it. And they're talking to an adult.
Right.
And I'm like, no, they're correcting your bad behavior. But then you have to not even go there. That's too old school for them to get or understand. But I just feel like they have words that they're using. So if something does happen, that's what they say. So if a parent or administrator, whomever, police hear a child say those things, they automatically like they did something wrong. And the other person. So now you're in a sticky place, because I didn't do anything, but this child knows is not uncomfortable, or they just don't want to do anything that day, so they triggered. Well, so these words that they have, and they, like, I know what they mean, but I don't think they know really what they mean or how to use them.
From my experience, being an educator, being with LTYC has helped me to grow in certain communication areas. Being an actress has helped me grow with communication, because what I've learned along the way is that communication is all about the receiver.
Right.
So no matter how many textbooks you've read, no matter how many TV shows or seminars you've watched, what happens is it's about being relatable at that point. And even if you don't understand, I guess after observing and being a part of that environment, you get more comfortable in responding as far as that. So when it comes to communicating with our babies, we sometimes we got to ask them questions. Sometimes we got to find out how they feel, because those words will disappear when they talk from their heart.
Right.
So what happens is when
to be in a response.
Exactly. Oh, you're being aggressive with me. Okay, Susie. Well, what is aggressive to you? You know what I'm saying? Find out what they feel.
What their definition.
Right. Because if we communicate straight off of, oh, I'm being aggressive. I'm not being aggressive, Susie. Blah 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 blah. And it's like, well, Susie, like, well, now you're being more aggressive.
Right.
So I'm not really sure.
Now you're abusing me. At that point.
Right. So you don't want to cross those lines, but it's all about we learn meeting them where they are and being that light in their dark place.
Right.
So they're already in a dark place. So we don't want to create a darker place. What happens is, how do you feel? Allow them to communicate with you. Let them use their big words and be, precocious as they are. But at the end of the day, we know they're children.
And doing this, like, I started doing this my sophomore year in college at 23, and now being 36. So I saw so many things happen with the school system and with laws, but last year felt really strange. And I think it was because the environment that we were in, in terms of people speaking out for themselves. And I've saw more children with therapists and one-on-ones than I've ever seen in my life. And I'm just saying, I just never saw that. And maybe I did primarily high school, but I would think that would be there and not in our elementary, middle schools. But younger students are now going through trauma. And people went through things when we were younger, but not to the magnitude or the extent that some of these students, just being theater teachers, and we do discussion days sometimes, and I'm quite sure you've heard students just get into a comfortable space and just start purging. And you don't want to stop them, because that's probably the only time that they've ever been able to be that real and that honest. But some of the stuff that's coming out, I'm shocked that 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds are going through, like currently, not something that happened before, but currently are going through.
Absolutely.
Is that something that you've dealt with a lot, or is that something, like, how did you, because I'm quite sure you've gotten it, but how did you deal with it?
So, this goes back to UAEA. You learn how not to be sympathetic, but you learn to be empathetic. Mm-hmm. And I've had students share the worst things with me. I mean,
because that makes it more connection. You make a deeper connection.
You make a connection.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you do. And then you are that. I mean, it's good to make that connection, but it's hard to burden that comfort. Mm-hmm. I mean, I cherish it because they feel so comfortable with me. Mm-hmm. But I've had students come up to me and talk about being touched in the wrong area and not being able to use the bathroom with other students. So they got to use the nurse's bathroom.
Yeah.
I've had a student tell me he watched his father and his uncle kill each other. So it's been multiple times where they've felt comfortable enough to share something so traumatic.
Wow.
So my response is always, thank you for sharing that with me. And if you are talking to someone and they ask you too many questions and you don't want to share and you don't feel comfortable in something and you doesn't want to do it, don't do it.
Yeah, like I'm that person for many of my friends, and I've mentored a lot of students, but it's normally 1 or 2 students. But now you're talking about a classroom full of students. Well, this happened to me, and that happened to me one class, and I couldn't stop it because I didn't want to stifle anybody. And that was the first time that class in a way related to me, and I didn't want to necessarily stop them, but it became, okay, this person stopped their story, but now this person got their hands up, and I don't know what's about to come out. And it just went around for that whole 50-minute class. It just went around, and I felt like I had to break character and break what was planned that day to let them have that moment. And something crazy happened for the rest of my time at that school that I couldn't explain it, but just to know in my mind that these students are going home with that every day.
Well, I've been in situations where they've tried to go in that direction, and it helps with the healthy redirection. Don't ignore and don't shut them up, but help them see it differently. So I don't know, nobody has all the answers, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, and that's why in that moment I had that happen. And like some people tell stories about a grandparent dying or something, with something that you can directly, okay, so let's write about that. But when they start talking, like at the end of that class, I had to write 2 reports that I wasn't ready to write.
I would also say partner with counselors in the building. Partner with, because we're social workers, so to say, in sometimes severe cases.
Right.
Because there were some incidents where they got a little deep and severe, and I couldn't process it on my own.
Right, yeah.
So I was like, what do you do when you can't process something by yourself? You get help.
Yeah, you get help.
So I went to another lady who served as a therapist for them that I felt comfortable with, that I knew that they were comfortable with, and we partnered. And we all had a little meeting, and it was, we created a safe space for that student, and she helped me to understand how to respond, whereas though you're not probing a child. You never want to say, your mommy beat you. Oh, what closet did she put you in? Like, you never want to make a kid feel uncomfortable. So
like you're interrogating them.
Right. So you let them speak, and you place the important facts together that you can as an adult, and if that is beyond you, then you stretch further. Unfortunately,
that class, because it was an older class, it was middle school age. The very next class that I had with them, I had to invite the peer counselor in just to start a conversation, and I worked it into the curriculum, of course, but it was still, I needed that person to be able to validate what they were feeling, and because I didn't want to act like Dr. Nate in that moment, so I let them purge, because I could tell it was like a domino effect. As soon as that one person opened up, and then it even got the boys started to open up, and I was like, this about to be, should I go get help now?
I understand.
But it didn't get to out of control. It was just, they probably never talked to each other that way, or realized, okay, if she gonna tell it, then I can tell my story.
Right.
And it was necessary, but I just want, in us giving our young people so much power over their bodies and their space, to also give them that understanding, work a little bit harder to give them the understanding, because I hear young people using words like rape and molestation in the wrong way. And I may have touched a shoulder, and that's rape to some students, because they don't really know or understand what these words can do once they're being used. And it becomes a defense mechanism for students when they're in certain uncomfortable positions, because they heard that this is what this word is, but somebody touching you on your shoulder to calm you down isn't molestation or rape. That's
Absolutely.
Just me trying to help you and console you. And I that's why last year I had never experienced it to this magnitude. 1 or 2 students throughout the whole 10 years I've been teaching, but not a classroom. And then that was just one class out of the 8 classes that I taught that week. It just was weird to me, because I just never experienced that from children before on that consistent level.
babies can be unknowingly vicious.
Yeah.
And we've started to grasp onto mental health and trying to help people be emotionally stable, that in a way sometimes I felt like we've stepped away from teaching them how to think effectively, because our emotions are inevitable, right? So we got to deal with them, but I don't feel like we should amplify it to a magnitude where as though it becomes their prime source of conversation. I'm angry. I gotta take 10 minutes. I need a break. Let me take a walk. I cherish those moments. You should have those moments. But I don't believe that those moments should consume that student.
Or everything
or that child.
That. Right.
Every time you experience an issue where they're in emotional distress, we've gotten to the point where as though, I don't know, to me, it feels like, personally, it feels like we are borderline pacifying versus educating and exposing to the truth. It's about breaking agreements. That's it. Mental agreements. And children don't understand that, so our job as educators and supporters are to help them direct their mind into a positive direction.
And I even understand how we got to this point, because, like I said, we did not necessarily have the vocabulary outside of rape and molestation. We didn't have words to use, or we didn't understand what a safe space was. Like, that wasn't, like, don't talk to strangers, but be nice to adults. Like, that was, I feel like that was the brunt of what I learned. But I just think now it was necessary, because now we've equipped our young people, but we haven't fully equipped them. I just feel, because I said to one of the teachers that I was at the school with last year, I just feel like they all had a meeting that we didn't go to.
That's funny.
I just really feel
I heard you say that earlier. I was like, well, man, what are these kids doing?
No, in terms of like giving them, like somebody was in there teaching them all these things and just dropped the ball. Like the class ended too early. Or like, you know, you got to speed through a lesson. And then they came out with these new vocabulary words or these new expressions, and they didn't really understand how to use them or how to direct them the right way.
So you know what I think really happened? And
that was just in my creative mind. I feel like
no, I'm here with you. I understand. I think that certain things have skipped generations. Because what happened is, because I was helping my parents, because my niece is my little sister, and she in the house with us. So we're teaching her respect. And because when you hit those teenage years, you ready to run buck wild, and it's like, not up in here, no,
my way.
Now my parents used to straighten me out about certain things.
Yeah.
And they just skip over that with my niece.
Well, you can't, because they can't do the same thing.
But they get tired, and I understand that, because what happened was their children, because they had to work so hard, they made it easy for their children. When they made it easy for their children, they had children.
Right.
Then those children that they had got the easygoing parents. And it's like they don't know what to implement and what not to implement, because it's like, oh, well, this was too hard for me, and then this was kind of easy, so let me try this route with my child because I didn't like this and I didn't. It's like
when they see the effects of being on the other extreme, so they kind of, it's like the first child versus the third child.
Listen,
like the third child is basically a terrorist in many aspects of the word.
I get what you're saying, but what so in actuality what happens is the respect, the morals, the ethics, the lessons, everything that we were taught, some of those things were left out because we didn't believe that they were needed. But this is the product, so to say, of what some of those things we believe weren't needed are actually needed.
And I think we're actually 2 generations in on that now.
Well, absolutely. I'm getting older. I forget that type of stuff. I'm borderline millennial, like not.
Yeah, I'm at the real beginning of it. I'm at the very tip of it.
I got you. I'm right there.
I believe it's 2 generations in that have gotten that. So the generation that we're teaching right now, because sometimes, like when we go around and introduce each other and we learn our parents, they sometimes tell their parents, hey, I don't know why they do that, but they do that. And I'm like, that parent is my age or younger. And I'm like, oh, wow.
That's because little Susie talking about I got raped yesterday, and it's like she heard her mom talking about love and hip-hop or something like that.
Right,
and now the voice is just flowing.
Right.
Stop her.
So I just, it threw me off, but like I said, like you were saying, we're 2 generations, and now I believe, and another one's about to come right on out that didn't have any type of discipline.
But it's our job to redirect those minds now, because we see the mistakes.
But it's like resetting every day, so they still gotta go home, and they're not getting it, and then we gotta reset. I'm speaking as a teacher. No,
I totally get it. I understand. So here's the thing with boatloads of information. Because I'm reading this. Well, I just finished this book called The 4 Agreements, and I've been telling everybody about it. Every time I read a new book, I get so excited. So the book talks about being impeccable with your word. It talks about never taking something personal, never making assumptions, and always trying your best. So it's a lot of things that we pacify certain issues on instead of trying our best to solve it. So even though any war that you fight, it's always going to be constant battles, right? You might not win every battle. It's all about the war. So what happens is we have to never give up on them. And then some of those messages might stick. Each one, reach one, might teach one, and something might stick to one. Like, just altered to say it to some.
But they just remix that. We're going to keep that. That's what we come a pro with. Each one, reach one.
You might reach one and get one to one. I'm just kidding. Oh, sorry about that. Let me turn this on backwards.
But it just amazes me where we are with this now, because without we blinked and we became these adults. Like, I feel like I'm now older, and I was talking to someone that was 21 today, and I was interviewing them, and what they were saying was like wrong to me, and I was trying to keep up, and I was like, no, that don't sound right. No, that's not how you should work this. And then, but I still have to learn how to sit back and let people be people and let it flow. But as an educator, and this time is back into self-care, I had to find that balance last year. And how much of myself do I give without cutting myself off or seeming like I am attached from the people that I'm in the classroom with? Because last year, the beginning of last year, I felt like I had to put a hard wall up, and because school I was in or the environment, but it just felt like I just had to. But when I lifted it up, I just had to find that balance. Half of the class, or just looking at the 504 plans made me feel tricky. Like I was starting to empathize too much with them, and that I had to learn how to turn that empathy down a couple notches.
Absolutely. We have to, as educators, empty our cup into others. Go find ways to pour into ourselves so we refill. Exactly. Because what happens is a child, an animal, and an older person, a really, really, really older person at the stage of not being able to do for themselves. That's our job. Right. And whether we believe it or not, that's what we're here for. We're here to help the promotion of life and the cycle and improve it with each moment. So it's like when we pour into these students, we got to still pour into ourselves, meaning take those moments of relaxation. Susie and Jimmy just had a fight and it led to a CPS case for their parents, and they came into school and wanted to argue with you. What happens is just we got to learn to debrief ourselves. Maybe go to the beach or create our own beach in our mind before we try to redirect our students.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to get some tips from Ms. Rideout and how she's preparing to go into this year. She's going into a new school. So she's having to reset because we don't even know the student.
Absolutely.
So we'll be right back after this quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. That's all, man.
This unknown to find who we really are. Crash into something new and take a break from our broken heart. Talk with the hip, tell me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, try not to say too much. Let your love come down. If you wanna rule, it's some rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true to your cool, make a move. Don't wait on nobody else. And if it feels like a melody, sing a song, be my radio. And if you follow me there, I'll follow you back. Let the night unfold. I can tell that she can't get enough. Show enough, she couldn't. It's all for me. Oh no, she couldn't. It's all for me. Touching hands till we dance in the dark. Show enough, she couldn't. It's all for me. We do whatever you like. It's all for me. Oh no, she couldn't. It's all for me. Let's slide, you and me alone, to find who we really are. Crash into something new. I got that lay banging up the car. Tell me you kiss, tell me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, I wanna take you, but we gotta cruise so we can lose the crowd. If you wanna rule, there's some rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true to your cool, make a move. Don't wait on nobody else. And if it feels like a melody, sing a song, be my radio.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Now listen to BeExposedRadio.com. Check out this fire flashback.
we need to relearn what it is to be these bosses and how we conduct ourselves as business-minded individuals and just people in general. I let my gut, and if I call it gut or God or whatever, I'm led by that energy. I know where it comes from. I know where it's, taking me, and you have to figure out what is important to you, and don't play this game. It's a game that we've learned to play, this chess game, and life is not a chess game. Life is real, bones, flesh, blood, decisions.
Make sure you check out the Artist Exchange Show every Monday and Friday at 2 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
I'll be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I'll be up in the way. 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 Bedroom phone ring, girl in t-shirt answers me. I get off on the way that she answers me. First time saw her, I knew she was the one for me. Ever since then, we've been vibing on some chemistry. It's just a matter of time. I know she feeling my vibe. I got the keys to the ride. She put her hands on my thigh. She got that look in her eye. Let's tell what I'm riding. Royalty, call me highness. All day and overnighted. Cause it's crunch time when I'm grinding. This Adderall got me nauseous. Proceed with caution. Tired of lanes, I'm exhausted. Poppin' Zanny Zan, sipping out the faucet. I'm confused, don't know what I'm doing. Wait, what I'm doing? Got me going where the f I'm going. Out of space where I'm f going. Wait, where I'm going? Wait, where I'm going? Out of space where I'm going. Out of space where I'm going. I'll be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I'll be up in the way. I'll be up in the way. I'll be up in the way.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Students, when you hear the reason or reasons for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma. Once you've exited, remove your cap and gown and proceed into the unknown. Too tired. Family trip. Part-time job. Helping around the house. Sick day. Starting the holidays early. Just because.
Starting in the 6th grade, students who miss 18 days or more of school in a year for any reason will fall behind and risk not graduating high school. How many days of school has your child missed this year? Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. And exactly. Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature, and I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do, and I think that that's a big problem that people face now, like you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular. It's getting that person money. It's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause.
Right.
I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, yes. And I was thinking, like, you know,
The Artist Exchange Radio Show.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I am kind of in a different space, but my official 6th year anniversary is coming up next month, and I don't really think I'm going to do anything. I might just have some special guests come by, but I had to just take a moment and figure out where I was at, and then we'll be actually going into my 7th year after that, and I'm really excited. Radio has meant a lot to me because as an artist, I kind of took a hard stop from being an artist, and I've actually been able to kind of layer back on being an actor, being a teaching artist, being a visual artist, design artist, and get back to being an artist again because I had to stop because, again, what we're talking about this month, my self-care was off. It was turned off, completely off. There was no batteries in it. It wasn't hooked up to the charger at all. And I had to just get back to being what I needed to be for me first. Because if my cup isn't full, it's nothing I can give you. If I'm not my best self, it's nothing that I could give you of any quality. And people take until you have nothing left. And I found myself in environments that were not welcoming to me, that was not conducive to me being healthy and whole. And I've had to learn how to deal with, who people are from a distance. I can't let you affect my goals and my aspirations and be in my space and let you distract me from those things. I can't let you do that. But I had to learn how to exist. I work with people who are not positive individuals, who are not whole and complete with themselves. And I've had to learn how to just deal with that. You can come on in. I had to learn how to deal with that on my own time and in my own space. But today I'm talking with another art educator, educating artist, and we're dealing with some self-care. And I want to actually go into our personal selves and not really, we got to deal with children next week. I don't want to be all on them. And I'm kind of just unboxing some. but it just further.
Well, say I, because I'm
you.
speaking for
well, I'm
me.
just saying people in general, because I get called difficult a lot, because I'm hard with my no's now, and I'm even harder with my yeses, because there's an expectation of my integrity that goes behind me saying no or yes to people. And part of my self-care is just being able to be comfortable with my boundaries. And I'm not used to artists not understanding that. I assumed wrong that other people are still people, whether they're artists or not, and they don't always get that. I don't feel weird. I just feel like I'm just taking a stand in myself.
Whew, so much to touch on. So let me try to work backwards.
We can be honest.
Safe space. So working backwards. Assumptions are good and bad. They're circumstantial, but you have to condition yourself not to make them.
Yes.
Meaning, just because someone is wearing fisherman boots doesn't mean they're fishermen. So,
Right.
I mean, it's a safe assumption, but it's not the right one, because that person could just be wearing rain boots because it's rainy outside. Like, it's different reasons.
Or they may not have any shoes, and that's what they have.
You're absolutely right. So it's multiple different avenues, and we just don't know. So it's the unknown.
Right.
So, what else did we touch on? So going back to...
Well, for me, so this just going back to the topic. So self-care in terms of who I am. What I'm perceived as is simply me practicing my self-care.
Okay.
Because I am an empath, minus the feeling part, but more so wanting to always be of assistance to people. I have to pull that back sometimes and be mindful that I want to see what's going on. Sometimes that's how I learn best, just being able to take it in. So I'm normally not the person that when there's a young person in a classroom that don't want to participate, I'm not harping on that person to do it, because I understand who I am, and I understand the moment I hit on something that triggers that person and they like, oh, I want to try that, I just welcome them back in. So I don't ever do that. But for me, my self-care has been mislabeled and misinterpreted or misunderstood, and I'm looking to figure out how to better open myself up more without being fake. I don't like being, hey, I'm gonna just be, because you gonna pick up that I'm being fake at some point.
Absolutely. So I struggle with the same thing, and unfortunately, at times, perception is unfortunately the freaking reality.
Right.
And that's not my reality. I still fight against that stereotype that perception is reality, because if you take the time to get to know someone and you ask them questions and you communicate with them, you will find out that they are probably not what you perceive them to be.
Totally opposite.
And I'll be honest with you. And I told you that on on our walk, because I wanted you, I'm very upfront with how I feel, and because today shed a different light on you. And I've always enjoyed your personality, whether it was inclusive or exclusive. I was like, he's pretty funny. I'm not sure if he wants to be here or not, but he's funny about it. And
that's something I have to fix, because it normally, employers be like, you don't want to be here, do you?
Well, yeah, we don't want them to get it wrong. So, what I had to do to fix myself when I did that, okay? Because I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you what.
Not fix, but grow.
You're absolutely right. Fix growing opportunities. So
I was listening to what you said.
So when I had to fix myself, when I had to grow on my opportunities,
there we go.
I had to take myself away for a little while and educate myself, because ignorance bred certain discomfort levels that I had. And it was like the more I learned and the more I exposed myself to different resources, the more relaxed I became within myself. And okay, so let me give you an example. I was reading a book on I think it's not what you say, it's
how you say it.
Right, but I think the book is saying like what everybody is saying. It's an ex-FBI agent that talks about body language, and I went and secluded myself and read all these crazy books. But I'm also an actress. I'm definitely going to share some books with you, because they're really, really helpful to my personal growth and my mental health, and I feel like it's helped me to reach a level of openness, knowing that it's no limit to where I'm going. But back to caring for self. When we get at moments where as though we're like, what the hell is everybody else seeing? Why don't you see me how I see me? What's causing you to misperceive me. And what happened was, it was my body language, it was my tone, it was my word choice at times. And I had to understand other people to understand how they receive things in order to understand how to deliver that information again. Because I didn't want people to see me as mean, and I didn't want people to see me as, oh, she don't want to talk to nobody because she come in here and she don't speak, or just because I have a straight face because I'm relaxed and I just didn't feel like speaking that day. But because we live in a society that's conditioned and groomed, and they've made all these agreements to society's way, in order to survive in those aspects, I've learned how to maneuver. And that means be genuine, but be welcoming. Don't assume everybody has a motive. Don't assume everybody's coming for the worst. Don't assume at all. You know what I'm saying? If you're living the talk that you've been speaking to everybody else and preaching to them, they can see it on you. It's literally radiant. So once I learned how to communicate with others, meaning learn how they receive information, because I'm giving it to them the way I think, and I done said the right words. How many times can you say the sky's blue? But sometimes you need people to say, hey, sometimes the sky is not blue. Sometimes the sun shines off the clouds and makes it shimmer a different color. So you got to speak people's language. Hope that makes sense. But all in all, you have to learn how to be open and receptive to other people, because that's what everybody wants, right? Is to be heard.
Yeah, and what is strange about this is, as you said, you got more comfortable, and something happened to me when I was 30. 30 hits a different way when you stop allowing other people's wants and needs to become yours.
True.
And I think I went so extreme with it that I got so comfortable, even being in relationships, like romantic relationships, or being in groups of people. I am an individual. I'm a shine. I'm going to be great. When I put my name on, it's going to be awesome. But at the same time, I have to maintain who I am. And I think we have gotten into a place in our communities and our culture where I need you to be who I need you to be in this moment, regardless of how it makes you feel. And I sacrifice that in those moments. But at the same time, when I'm ready to be me, I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me in how I dress and how I speak and how I talk. And I'm always mindful of how that is to other people. And I know even if with my size and my stature and just my presence, I can be a lot for people. So I like to balance that off with just quietness, being reserved. And I don't think I'm stifling myself. I am a lot to myself. And so I'm super sensitive to other people's needs and wants. I have a couple special gifts, and part of that is I can see what you're thinking when there's something you need to say. Normally I can't read minds, but when it's something that you need to say, I hear it indifferently. So last week, I'm not going to use the trigger word, but it was hypersensitive in that room, because there were a lot of people with masks on that were not, and I see this in a lot of places, but specifically last week, I saw a lot of masks. And it wasn't necessarily a maliciousness, it's just a protective measure. And I see that in people, and I often have to quiet myself, because I'll be like, you want to talk? And then when you open that door, you got to be ready
to receive
it. So I have to always be behind the line sometimes, because I'm super sensitive to how people feel. And that's a lot for me. That's a lot. Imagine being in the classroom and seeing all those things and not being able to just help every little. My first year, I was broke. My check every 2 weeks went back to making sure people were good in the classroom. And I can't do that. I gotta pay my bills too. So I have to balance it off now. Where you are now, how far have you come from when you first started teaching?
Cool. So I am in year 4 of being an educator. When I first joined the atmosphere, it was by accident, and I ended up loving it from the bottom of my heart. So when I first joined, I was nervous, intimidated, ignorant to certain things.
Your personality doesn't ever, would tell me something totally different.
Great. Because that's what I do on purpose. Great.
But that's where you are now.
But okay, so even where you are now, you're always trying to be better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's something always that on the inside we might be insecure about.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is the way we can't remove those insecurities and
Mm-hmm.
we can't remove those fears, but we can change how we deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always afraid. I'm always
How you
nervous.
react.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and even in my first year, I walked into that classroom with confidence. That first period class could have tore me alive from the hip to my toes, but at the same time, I gave them a level of confidence because I was prepared to try to teach them differently every time I came back in. Because what happened was I had a classroom full of kids emerge with another class that, what is the proper term? That learned differently. So they placed them in the classroom together. And some of them had emotional learning differences. Some of them had physical, it all, right? So when I walked into the classroom, they knew that I was scared because I was scared of them because I didn't know
who was going to get me today.
What? Who was going to knock me upside my head with a chair? I was like, listen, Jimmy and Joe, I'm not playing with you today. But anywho, what happened was...
I'm going to tell you a joke afterwards.
Please, make me laugh after that moment. But I got defeated a couple of times. I leaned on my friends sometimes. Sometimes I leaned on God.
Yeah.
Sometimes I leaned on myself. And at times I just leaned there. Like, let me just process certain things. Lord Jesus, what did the kids enjoy today? What did they not enjoy today? What didn't they throw erasers on? Okay? So each day I went in, I was somebody different for them. Because it intrigued them. So by day 5, I'm Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Lucy, and Susie. They like, oh Lord.
You were touching in their base because they probably felt like a different person.
Listen,
every day.
They made me feel like a different person every day.
She's like, we can do this for real?
We did this together. We grew together. So in actuality, me and the kids grew together because I can tell you some stories. I mean, Jesus. I've had my classroom destroyed. I'd have been, can I curse on here? I'd have been called a bitch. I'd had somebody tell me they was going to beat me up. I'm like, Jesus.
And they were babies doing it.
Babies? All right, let me not. I love them. Because what happens is you get to see the product of them not having certain resources that we had. And that's why we're here, to bring those resources into their community.
Right.
Them not having some of the lessons and, you know, morals and instilled in them when they grew up. So that's why we're here to safely go ahead and interject them back in the classroom without changing anybody's parenting style. Because you don't want to offend parents. I mean, Jesus. You want the parents on your side. Let's just say that.
Because their imagination is far more than what our artists' imaginations could be.
I had a conversation about some babies about being jealous. Okay, now jealous is a word. That means wanting something that someone else has. But society has created this negative undertone on that word. So I couldn't even explain to the baby girls that just because Lily has this and you don't, that doesn't mean you bring a negative light to what she has. Maybe you can work hard
you
too.
Don't have it.
Exactly, and obtain that. And I tried to do it in a positive light. I don't know if I said it right, said it wrong, I don't know. But the baby went home and told her mother, I said matter of fact, she didn't even go home. She called on the cell phone and said, she just told me I was jealous of Susie. I said, oh man. She brought the cell phone to me. I said, what is this? Are we in school or are we outside on the street? Is this your...
Oh, hey, my mama want to talk to you. Oh.
Just imagine me.
I like that trick.
I'm like, hello. She like, yeah, you telling my daughter she jealous of Susie? And I'm like...
Now, mind you, 3 weeks ago when I needed to reach you, I couldn't reach you.
But that's why we learned to build those relationships first. We learned to make those parents happy.
So on that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break because I'm feeling triggered right now because some bad stuff is coming up. Shout out to my cousin Raven for joining in. All the people joining in. Evangelia Rideout.
Oh, Evangelia.
I'm sorry.
That's my mom.
Evangelia Rideout. Sorry, Miss Rideout. But we're going to be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show only on BeExposedRadio.com. Yeah. So
Long live Pop. Y'all can go ahead and cry now. I'ma show these niggas what to do with one of your beats, man. I am Gas, by the way. should have been on CNN. Nobody knows what it's like being Gwen. Windows closed in the house, it ain't no CNN. Can't gain weight for years, she been being thin. Single mother, no help from the system. When they was giving out food stamps, she missed them. Birth certificate, baby daddy, she couldn't list them. But her son was so beautiful when she kissed him. Blame it on love, but nigga she could've died with. Destroyed the whole world, I found out she was a side chick. The nigga loved his wife, and it got hard to hide it. So when Gwen confronted him, he ain't even denied it. Her fault, depends on who you asking. She tried to be a stripper, but the tip out was taxing. Buying all the purses, trying to keep up with the fashion. And her mama hated babysitting with a passion. She deserved better, better circumstances. A black queen, she should've been blessed with certain chances. Look down upon, getting all the hurting glances. Making men change up all the twerking stances. She never cried about the pain, only gritted her teeth. But most soldiers never get a flower or a wreath. She like G.I. Jane in the war with no relief. Don't recognize why killers was going.
Like the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project their insecurities onto you. But you can't listen to what them niggas saying. You gotta get out here and do your shit regardless. You gonna do what you love for the rest of your life anyway. So why not turn that shit into something? Be a man of everything you say. This shit bigger than me, man. Like yeah, I'm good and all that, but you know what I mean? I ain't shit without y'all. So no matter what you up against, go hard. Don't matter. Can you imagine how I really having nothing is? Stomach growling, you ain't got no food in the fridge. Surviving on a jail diet of water and bread. No father figure, that's cause my father dead. Mom's bringing different niggas in and out the crib. No money, so you seen this less than all your friends. But it a joke because your mother was a crackhead. Older sister hoeing off, giving all the homies head. I could wait for your response, but they let her hear me talk, so I'll just wait for the...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
At home, they're dealing with anger, they're dealing with yelling, they're dealing with not having enough of something or having too much of this or not enough of that. But they can't come to a classroom with us and then feel that same animosity and anger because where's their safe space?
And I think I annoy a lot of my students because I don't yell. So they assume that that's what's about to happen. But I keep calm. You know, I may be raging on the inside, but I've always been a person that I can't get too excited because my body just don't go there. As soon as I take a deep breath, it's over. Like I can't be mad, I can't stay mad. I'm just the person that y'all see off into itself. That's the person that I normally am in front of the students, minus the quiet part. But I'm learning different ways to cope with, and not just deal with, but actually cope and kind of get through some of the boundaries. But this seems different to me. And it's the environment, it's teachers, it's if you're teacher number 5 for that year, that's a different environment.
Hit me when I say I've seen at least 5 to 7 teachers be replaced in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
It's
so what
hard
does that
for
do for the children?
It puts them in a disarray at times. It gives them a lack of confidence in our system, and I get that. But we can't fix everything and we can't change everything.
Right.
So that's exactly why we have to take those moments to ourselves to make us happier. Take ourselves on that date. And I'm still working on me. Because we talked about relationships earlier, or you talked about them, because I won't touch on them because I'm real bad at them, okay? So we have to learn how to build good relationships with ourselves so we can build good relationships with other people.
But I think where we're at now, that's true. Honestly, because a lot of us are broken from stuff we were birthed into.
Well, you tell me.
But others have to learn how to accept people for who they are. We can't.
Absolutely.
And I think, and I'm trying to figure out how to better teach that in my classroom, acceptance of others, because everybody's not like you. Everybody not gonna be outgoing. Everybody not gonna be the life of the party. Some people like to sit and chill. Some people don't even like to come to the party. So how how are we giving them all these tools, but acceptance of others is kind of being still at the end of that list? How would you suggest we deal with that?
That is definitely, to me, an age-old issue. Because, and the reason why I say age-old issue without presenting a solution first, because I'm still looking for one myself, because the classrooms, absolutely, because the classrooms are all conditioned the same. And if you look at classrooms from maybe 1963, 1970, you keep going to the 2000s, you hear the 2018, 19, it's still the same.
Right.
We're putting all the students in one classroom and teaching them the exact same thing when each individual student learns completely different. So it's let's say it's circumstantial, okay? Because we can't fix everything and we can't change everything, but we can help certain things. So the relationships that we build and the connections that we make and the education that we bring to the table should help combat some of those disparities that they deal with.
My cousin Raven Nat says, find out what they like.
That's a good, absolutely.
But what's the balance of doing that? Because I the second school I went to last year, I taught music, so I taught the older children how to write bars. So I still had to find a balance in, we can write bars, but we can't listen to what y'all want us to listen to, because I'm gonna be fired. So how do we find that healthy balance? Or how have you tried to find that balance and finding what they like without catering to them?
Positive redirection. Like at the same time I'm listening to them, like, all right, they try to get me, my kid's quick to try to get me put on some trap music.
Yeah, because I had the Bluetooth and the little boy switched my Bluetooth. Boy, you want to get my classroom is next to the principal.
That's at the classroom management, because little Joe, listen, little Joe, you either want time out or you want to keep playing with us. So don't touch my radio. But on the flip side of it, so when they want to play Shake That and Let Me See What You Got, it's like, hold up, don't you shake what your mother didn't give you in this classroom.
Yes.
But what can we turn into something positive? So you like rap. I see you like rap. All right, cool. I'm not a freestyle artist. I got a whole girl who's a rapper. She's a very good friend of mine. But listen, I'm not a rapper. So I'm going to give you a little...
So bring her in.
I definitely have to bring her in here so she can show you guys what I mean in the real rendition, but here's the fake one. So if you like rap, and we in here, right. You don't like textbooks, so it's like, okay, Jimmy, so we're going to write 8 bars about how you can improve the textbooks. What would you put in the textbooks? Now, if they say something crazy like girls in bathing suits, you say, no, Jimmy, listen. We're not going to put them. That's for the beach. We're going to put some people in here, maybe throw some girls in here with the guys, put some shorts on everybody or something like that, and shirts. But at the same time, it's like, all right, take a look. We got these books, what I want to see in them, and,
Okay, I thought you were about to go.
Listen, no, I'm not. But let them be creative with that. Let them find positivity through you asking positive questions.
And see, and what is crazy is, and this is why families need to communicate, because my cousin actually worked at the school I started out at, and I should have went to her. See what happens when we don't communicate? She said the problem is once they give important tasks as leaders, once they give important tasks as leaders, give them important tasks like leader or helper.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Classroom jobs. You have classroom jobs, and then don't make your rules. Don't tell the kids what not to do. Tell them what they can do.
So the thing that we did for the professional development, so that's going to be my first day for each of my classes.
What, to create your rules?
Let's create our guidelines.
Guidelines, right.
Together.
And no more than 5?
Yeah, I think you said 5.
Okay. All right, so you start with positive reinforcements, examples. Be the change. Like you said, your kids hate it that you don't yell, but don't be sarcastic with them and not yelling either. You know what I mean? Like, don't let that slip out, because even though I'm not yelling with you, I can still give you a mean undertone if I'm not yelling.
Oh yeah.
So more so, if Billy's acting up over here and we got the whole, I know I'm just giving everybody names, but if Billy's acting up over here, we got the whole class, it's like, okay, well, I like the way Jane is sitting. I love what Jillian is doing. Like, so then,
you start saying them straight and
because it's like, oh, I want to get recognized too, because what do we all want? We all want attention. Oh my God, I'm sorry. We all want attention.
I am good at empathy, because I remember what it was like sitting in those seats, because the only reason I am a teaching artist is because I had teaching artists. That's
Absolutely.
the only reason I knew this was possible. But we're going to take another quick commercial break. I think we have just a half an hour left, and we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange. I should have invited her sooner. I knew she was crazy. But we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree
It's huge!
is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. So deeply wounded, but don't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. So you just sit there and you suffer in silence. Your pride won't let you just uncover your secret. Don't wanna look weak in your image, it ain't worth losing. So you just act as if it's nothing happening. God sees you, and God hears you. Yes, God loves you. You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. Suicidal, depressed, but you won't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I don't want, knowledge, a little part of it. I want you to put me on a payroll. Give me a W-9 form. That's what I want you to do.
Well, I agree with you.
But it's like that other places. So I moved in other places in these last 6 years and learned the same thing.
What I've learned along the way is let people use you who you can use. Mm-hmm. And that's not in a negative connotation. It's not saying, oh.
Bartering.
Right, exactly. The bartering system, commerce. Because we have gifts and talents that we can offer each other, and we're sitting right in each other's backyard.
And see, I got so used to doing everything myself. So I've produced my own plays and art shows, and I've paid for my own events out of my own pocket. I prided myself on being able to do everything. I went to a school where we had to learn how to do everything. That was our major, urban arts and production at Coffman State, and we had to learn how to do everything. So I knew how to be everything from the janitor to the star on the stage.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to learn how to effectively use that, because I didn't have a lot of money coming from out of Coffman, so we could afford, to put on these lavish productions. So I had to learn how to work a little bit. So I always had a regular job, a benefactor is what I call them now, and that paid for everything. I am now learning how to, oh, you do this too? Oh, maybe we can work together. But going beyond that, effectively finding people who not only do what I do, but have the same energy.
Absolutely.
I can't, because I tried to employ everybody. I tried to find everybody, and then people began to lean on me. And now I became the producer.
Right.
Paying everybody. No, this is a joint effort, baby.
Right.
We all got to sell these tickets. We
Right.
all got to, and now I'm trying to find people who want to do this and not just say they like to do it, but they're working in it. My mother always told me, always go with a busy person, or person that's working rather. I don't want a busy person no more, because that's a person that's just jumping from here to there. I want somebody that's working within what I need. And then I'm always give you everything that I have. But I just need that back in return, so we're reciprocating, and we both leave here full. and I'm not on fumes, and you overflowing with gifts and talents and giving. But, so speaking as, so we go sidebar to teaching thing, but as an artist, where are you?
Whew. As an artist, I guess success is in the mind. That's number one.
Okay, with the affirmation.
Listen, because I'm working on being a better person and building myself up and building up others around me, because if I'm at the top alone, I'm not doing this job the right way.
And we've seen them stories on behind the scenes or where they now stories.
Listen, I understand now that it takes a team and it takes a strong team. So you never want to be in a room where you're the smartest person in that room, because you're not going to learn anything. I mean, you can learn anything anywhere, but you want to be in a room where you can learn from the people around you and grow, because you're putting a cap on yourself. Once you like, oh yeah, I'm the head honcho, oh yeah, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this in Baltimore. So as an artist, I'm never done. I'm never where I want to be.
But we're told that we always going to be students.
Absolutely.
No matter how big we get, we always relearning and learning and maturing.
As an artist, you never want to stop taking classes in your craft, or at least staying a part of something that can keep you up to date, because relevancy matters.
Or learning another trade, because many times I don't feel like learning lines, but I can be the director or the stage manager. They get paid just as much, but just learning something else, or keep learning, like you were saying.
It's all about mindset, because I have done. I mean, I would tell people quick when I was in school, I don't care if I'm girl with bucket. I'm gonna be in this and I'm gonna do that.
No oohs and
Absolutely. So, but I've come to a place where as though I have been girl with bucket in a big production. So to me, girl with bucket was girl with the crown. What? Carry the bucket.
I've done that, and a lot of the students that went to school with me or my peers, like, I ain't doing that. And then you get recognized for being girl with bucket, and they like looking at you sideways, but you should have carried that bucket then.
Absolutely, it's all about perception.
Right.
What are you willing to work for?
I've seen stars get no recognition in the critiques from people that came, and then it'd be the person with the small, minute role that made it a bigger role.
Don't ever judge your success by someone else's opinion. Like, at this point, I've learned that my opinion matters. How I'm walking in God matters. Because if I sit and I worry about if you're happy with the way I'm moving, I'm never going to get far enough for you. So in my own mind, I'm never going to get far enough for myself. So why do I want the weight of your judgment when you got your own life to live?
And you're probably not where you at.
Listen, that's a whole nother topic. I don't touch on things that I cannot control. I only worry about this one right here. You understand? And my family understand. But no, we're all connected at the end of the day. And I think we as people fail to realize how connected we are, because if I tripped over a rock on the street and I fell into the street and I caused James to have an accident and to swerve into Cindy, it's kind of like we're all connected. I gotta pay attention.
But you did it though. It was still your fault. I just want to let you.
That's where personal responsibility comes in.
That's still your fault.
Listen, you have to take personal responsibility at the end of the day, and that is a part of owning who you are, so you can be better for yourself, and then being able to pour into someone else. So as an artist and as a teaching artist and anybody, I'm successful. That's where I am. And I just have more success to obtain, because it's never over. The journey never ends.
So is acting your forefront?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Being an actress, I mean, I've learned how to do spoken word. I've learned how to sing a note or two. I've learned how to build a set. Look, I appreciate it. Don't get me singing up in here. No, but no, I like you said, I've worked every intricate part that you can think of, because I love acting. But I just don't want someone to say, oh, she's just an actress.
Right.
I love acting, but I can direct your film. I can manage your script. I can call the shots on set, quiet on set, make sure everybody's got water, like down to making sure the trash is picked up.
So what you're in, what's that thing that will allow you to do all the things that you want to do? What's that one thing? Is it acting, or is it teaching, or is it directing? And I know you do poetry too, you write.
I hate to be so broad with the answers, but I feel like as an educator, I'm always an educator. I'm always an artist. So I'm 24/7 always on the job, meaning whether it be to empower or support my friends, or whether have them with something with me, or be there for the youth, or have the youth be there to witness me. It's always an exchange of services and helping other people grow. So I guess you can say, in other words, my end game is to be successful along with a lot of other people, bringing them with me.
Okay.
Because my dreams don't just include me, because that's kind of selfish.
Well, it's actually selfish. That's kind of the definition.
Good and bad, but you want your dreams to include other people. Because we all got to eat.
Yeah, it's hard doing this artist thing alone. I tried it for a couple years, and I don't suggest it to anyone. And I went into my 30s exhausted because I went at being an artist alone. I realized the people who were paid to nurture me only cared about their resume. The groups that I associated myself with, everybody had their own intentions. So it became about myself. I had to look out for me. And in my pursuits, I was literally exhausted going into my 30s because I was doing way too much and I didn't have a focus, or it wasn't as organized as it should have been. Going a little bit, how does your environment affect your creativity, or how has it affected your creativity?
I've actually never thought about that because I've always dreamed so big. But being in my environment at one point in time stunted my growth in a way, or I stunted my growth.
Was that Baltimore or just your circles?
I'm just going to say, I can't say Baltimore because Baltimore is a beautiful city and it's so many things to do in Baltimore. And people just don't realize it, but it's all about who you know and networking and stuff like that. So I do my best to push the events and shout out my friends because I want everybody to eat.
Right.
But my environment had me thinking for a while that this was all there was to it because I grew up in inner city Baltimore at an inner city public school with a lack of resources.
What schools did you go to?
I'm going to leave out the schools I went to because I've taught at some of the schools I work at that I went to.
Was that full circle for you though?
Oh my God, it was a beautiful circle. So I can talk about that.
Okay.
So I attended an inner city school. And when I was younger, I was in elementary school, I got bullied. They didn't like me. I didn't understand. I just loved everybody. I wanted to be liked. It was horrible. I actually looked a little different. And I didn't understand what that meant until now. Because back in the day, I used to come home like, "Mine, like, what's wrong?" And she like, "Oh, you pretty." And I'm like, "Mine." And my dad used to tell me, "You're not pretty, you're smart." So it's like I had "you're pretty, you're smart." I know what the hell you said you're
schools. So imagine what the teachers are dealing with, and you.
Listen, it was so
much. On the same
much.
page. You're beautiful and you're smart.
Exactly, but okay. So let me try to clarify because I tend to jumble up my words. But okay, so my mom would try to give me reasons why people were picking on me because you look different and you are different.
Right.
And my dad would try to get me to understand that no matter how different you are, if you're smarter than everybody, can't nobody do nothing to you. So what happened was it was a struggle. So being in elementary school was an experience. I grew up, my parents put me in a couple of martial arts classes because I needed to learn how to defend myself because it wasn't working too well. And I do not promote fighting. Let me go on record. I do not promote
Protection is different
fighting.
from being aggressive.
Yes, I promote being able to protect yourself and knowing when you're in danger and when you can defend yourself effectively. But in growing and doing that, the whole journey was genuinely full circle. I never wanted to see that school again. I never wanted to see them people again. I didn't want to see anything that reminded me remotely of where I was because it was so hard for me. But what I realized is that made me who I am.
Right.
Without being bullied, I would have never taken martial arts classes and being able to be as agile in different certain roles that I was given. I would have never been.
That probably brought about a layer of confidence.
Who you telling? What? I'm going from getting beat up. So I know. But no, and then that grew older in me, and what happened was I had to do things to push me out of my comfort zone, and I realized that you're never going to be comfortable. So be comfortable being uncomfortable.
In your comfort zone, you're uncomfortable.
Exactly. So, and if you're comfortable, that means it's time to move on because you're too comfortable. But so anyway, experiences, full circle after the bullying situation, went through high school, of course, gotten a couple of jobs, and then I told you I didn't want to be a teacher at first. This literally happened because I got fired from my last occupation I was in. So
this is the story of many artists. Like,
you never know where you're going.
Never.
So I you know, I called a friend. Well, a friend called me, or I called that friend. I don't know how it happened, but that friend was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "I just got fired for something that I disagree with, and I am standing my ground." That person said, "You are not jobless right now. Please put your suit on and come for an interview." I was like, "Okay, that's amazing. To do what? Teach what? Teach who?" So I wasn't really with that. But what happened was, I always loved new life. I always loved the genuine and purity of it, and I love being able to help mold it into something great. So that made me let go of that. I don't want to teach nobody kid. So I want to teach everybody's kid, because I want everybody to be great, so we can fix the things that we have opportunities in that we've grown to deal with. We don't have to.
So last year was the first year out of all the years I've been teaching, being a teaching artist, that I actually got to go back to my old school and teach, actually, and it was different, but I didn't have those experiences, but that one school, that elementary school, is where I am who I am. My principal was a writer, and she would write plays and put poetries together. She's the reason I know about 20 Langston Hughes poems.
I love it.
And that was, and then my fourth grade teacher was an arena player, so I got to like straddle and go see shows and be introduced to a world of Baltimore that was outside of what I was, doing. But it was very full circle. I felt full standing on that stage.
Definitely.
And being able to give them what I was given at one point.
I'm glad you brought me back around, because I talk a lot.
I was trying to bring you back to
Listen, you did great, because it actually reminded me why I was okay with doing this after it happened. Because once I did get the position and find out what school it was, and I'm like, what? I used to go to this school. I love it. Now I can help those who went through what I went through.
Everything feels so much smaller.
Inside, no, put on your fan. How about that? All right, this is real hot in here. All right. So, but yes, it was elevating to teach where I grew up and where I had to deal with so many adversities and opportunities and lack of resource, that I'm able to now expose them to something different, make them feel better, and not deal with the things that I had to deal with because no one understood me. So I understand. I'm here.
And it
thank you so much.
And that's one of the reasons that I felt so comfortable with. Thank you. Last year and that was the balance. So and I taught at 3 different schools last year. So the balance was going to this school every day and having to deal with that, but also being able to go to this school every day and deal with like giving these young people something. Just being in that space again made me stay, because I was like, I don't need this. I'm the person. I don't even need to give you 2 weeks. Deuces. Hilarious. I got my own business. But I just really, it kept me balanced, and it kept me focused on why I was doing it. So I stayed over here only because this was so, like, I brought my like picture. We took like pictures every year, and I would bring out class pictures, and I showed them like I stood on this stage.
I'm so mad at myself. I missed my pictures.
This is the first stage. This is the first stage that I ever acted on. It's the first stage that I ever got embarrassed on, because I had to sing. My principal used to make me sing all the time, and I got stage fright for the first time on this. So it was a number of things.
I love it.
And I just had to remind myself of where I started from and why I wanted to do this, because again, like you said, being a teaching artist was not something that I expected to be. And the very first school that I went into was a facility. It wasn't even a school. Shout out to Shepherd Pratt. They're not around anymore. Good Shepherd. They're not around anymore. But this was a facility, so I really had to muster up. Why are you doing this? I'm going through bars and metal detectors and being worn down.
What's my motivation?
Like, right after all that, I want to do this, like, and just staying motivated and finding allies within the arts world. The first school I went to, I had 2 other LTY teachers to kind of balance off, and then the other 2 schools I didn't have that. So you were on your own, and you had to figure out how to make this work, and it just was different. Like every school year is different. So how are you anticipating going into this new environment? Because you kind of made a home for yourself at the last school.
I did make a home for myself.
The school
I don't want to.
The classroom felt where I lived in.
Oh my God, I miss my babies, I miss my classroom. But I was comfortable, so it was time for me to grow. And whether I wanted to or not, because the company that we work with, sometimes you don't get to choose where you go where you're needed. And I've served my purpose. I feel like I've been that light to hundreds of students in the last 3 years. I feel like
you were there for 3 years?
Absolutely.
Oh wow.
I really enjoyed that experience, and I'm so excited to be at another school, because what that tells me is I'm able to plant seeds here, there, here. So all in all, it feels great for change.
So we're going to go to our last commercial break. We'll be right back with Miss Rideout, Miss Ramona. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Yeah, that was...
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run. The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, one with a home run,
hit the home run.
Right. They were going into that National series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game. That's my first not for the night.
Okay.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. This is our last segment. I've had an awesome conversation with Miss Rideout. She's definitely going to be somebody that I'll be like, come on, Dan.
I'll be like, yep, I'm on way.
And this show is for conversations like this. After, a tumultuous last year, I've really had to come full circle, and had it not been for a number of people, Dana and Lauren, I know Lauren personally, and know Noah, and a number of people that I work with that know me and that I could reach out to. Without that, I really I would not be here, or I wouldn't be still going into another school year. So it was really beneficial that I had allies and I had individuals. And I know how important it is for me to open up a little bit more, but it still has to be under my guidelines.
Absolutely, when you're comfortable.
Right, you can't open up. And it's not that I'm closed off. It's more so I know what I want. And I spent a lot of years doing what faculty and other individuals wanted me to do for them. And now it's time for me to focus on me. So it may come across that way, but I'm watching you harder than you're watching me. if that makes a difference to you personally or to anybody who feels that way about me. Like I'm the most loving, the most giving or person, but I just have to be in my space to do that. Everywhere else, I'm preserving energy. And that's how when I describe it to people, then they get it, hopefully. But I'm preserving my energy in every other environment other than the classroom or when I'm on stage or I'm leading something. Like this is like the stage to me. So we're able to do it. So my question that I normally give to everybody at the end of the show is, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self? Not to change anything, because we don't want to alter time, but to kind of cushion some of those, face falls.
I would tell 17-year-old Ramona
Where were you
Rideout.
at 17 first?
I don't know.
That's the answer. That's the answer. I have no idea.
No, I'm at 17. I thought I knew a little something that I ain't know nothing. Okay.
That's that smelling your sound.
Who are you telling? So I would tell my 17-year-old self to be fearless. Do your best at everything you try. Don't give up. And never worry about what people think. Sometimes it's lonely at the top, but getting there, you need to help other people and you need to have other people help you.
Now, what I don't normally do is now go 17 years into your future. What would your future self say to you today?
Don't stop, because it's pretty at the top.
Okay, well, that sounds like
stop.
a rapper to me. It wasn't, but I really appreciate you stopping by. And anybody that's listening, we have a couple people that's still on here, but definitely, if you know a teacher, treat them out one day, randomly.
Yes.
When I say it has been the hardest, and I've had some hard jobs, this is the hardest job that taxes. Like I'm right now, a week before we go back, I'm stressed.
I'm scared.
Already. Because I don't know what you did with your child this summer. I don't know what you said to them, what their experiences were. And it's going to be cool that first week. But then when you get into the meat and potatoes, the everyday of the situation, that's when it's going to get rough. So
that's when we have each other.
Week. It's the following week. Then I may be like, hey, Miss Rado, what's going on?
I'll be like, hey, how you doing? Keeping my head above water. And we're gonna be trying hard.
And that's where we are. That's where we are with it. And I really I applaud teachers, parents as well, for just keeping it going. Parents, check in on your children. Don't just drop them off in the drop-off line and pick them up. Be present. Give your phone number to the school so we can prevent stuff like this from happening. And we're not, scrambling around and things get out of control with the students. So give your correct information. Don't just drive up in the drive-up line or the pickup line. Go inside and say hi. 5 minutes. I know you're running late. Just say hi. So
Same
the teacher,
for instructors.
Right.
Meet your parents.
Meet your parents. Go to the PTA meetings.
Say hi.
Everybody, say hi. Or what's wrong? I know something's wrong. Tell me.
Or let me tell you what's good.
Right.
Come on in here with your baby.
And it's moments like that I started wearing my glasses because my mother went to PTA meetings and found out I wasn't wearing my glasses in school. So had I been wearing my glasses for the first 5 years of my life, maybe I wouldn't be wearing them right now.
Hilarious.
But please just check in on your teachers, check in on your students, check on them parents. Like, it's hard for all three of those parties alone, and then with everything else that go along with it, it makes it 10 times harder. But please check in on the teacher. Treat them to a pedicure one day, something nice. Just you see a teacher, just say hi to them. Buy their groceries that day. I'm telling you, it'll mean the world of difference. and somebody won't be sent to jail the next week.
Hilarious. That's the truth.
It's the small things. So this has been the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We don't have any more shows tonight. The next show is tomorrow, Talk Lately with Monty. So tune in, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Artist Exchange will be back. And we have another LTY instructor that's coming in on Friday. See,
LTYC in the building.
I was quietly a storm in that room. I thought I wasn't talking, but I was.
I love it.
So Friday we'll be back with another totally different show, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look out for that. We'll be right back. Well, we won't be right back. Have a nice day.
First they love you, then desert you. Leave with a plate full with no spoon. Ain't no space, I can't escape negativity. I got used to the taste. I've been bad, burned, then fucked over. But remain strong through the past over. Kicking haters out of the way like masked over. Roll up, sip something, let it pass over. Who would I be? It ain't the man to me that let the next man take advantage of me. When that storm